Hello,
Go for it.
Karispera, Christoforos.
Kalispera.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing really good, thanks. I know we're pretty close to each other here. I'm here in Athens, Greece, and you're there in Apollon, Cyprus. Yeah,
Yeah, only
awesome.
1 hour away, 1 hour
Yeah,
flight.
by flight, maybe even less. I think I saw it's like 45 minutes, something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have one of my best friends. He lives in Tel Aviv, Israel, too. So maybe I'll do like a hop, jump, and a skip from Athens to Cyprus onto Israel. So
And yeah,
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 well,
that'll be
yeah,
good.
we
That'll be good.
yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting you though in Lisbon, which was really nice. And the second I met you, it stuck in my mind that you would be a perfect person to interview. So, yeah, let's jump into it. Why don't you first kick us off by explaining who you are, your role within, or sorry, where you work, and your role within the club.
So I work at Apollon Limassol FC, which is one of the top football clubs in Cyprus, first division. Obviously, I'm the head of ticketing and operations, which is basically I'm responsible for various different operations for the club, whether that is ticketing, VIP sales, the match day experience, fan engagement, certain security issues as well that come with all the aforementioned, and everything in between. Because as you understand, uh, even though Apollon is very professional, we've been consistently competing in Europe, and we have acquired this kind of experience from other top European clubs. So Apollon, don't mind me saying, is not what you expect when you think of Cypriot football. But that being said, as you understand, we don't have the personnel that European clubs have. They might have 50, 60, 100 people working in management administration.
And that
Here,
money, right?
exactly, yeah, of course, very important. So at the moment we are around give or take 15 employees working for the management and administration side, not
Sorry,
taking into consider. Yeah.
just really quickly. So minus the players, that those 15 people that
No, mine is the players and the technical stuff. So excluding coaches, physios, trainers,
right, kind of in the
the
administration management
exactly,
side.
yeah. So I'm
That's
talking in
quite
terms of
small.
like it is, but for Cyprus is more than usual, to be honest, because we do have at the moment maybe around 20 full staff people working around the players at the training center, and we have an additional 15 people, as I said, who are working at the offices. So we take care of management, marketing, administration, this kind of stuff. And we also have quite a few people that work for the academy, which is I think maybe around 10 people, excluding the coaches, because as you understand, the academy has a lot of coaches.
Okay.
So all in all, if I had to group everybody into a certain number, I would say that at this moment there's around 50 people that work under the Apollon, let's say, name,
That's awesome.
which is yeah, that's yeah, which is
I
and
much
that is,
prefer it that way, a little bit smaller, tight knit. Because
uh,
once you get into these, 3 to 500 employees and some of these huge clubs,
yeah,
you just become a
yeah,
number, and it's not as intimate and close knit.
yeah,
How
yeah,
how long
spot on.
how long have you been working there?
This will be my fifth season. So I've been here for 4 years, and I'm transitioning into the fifth year as we speak.
Okay.
Quite some time. I started as the for the club as a ticketing officer. So basically, I was the guy who was responsible for printing tickets
Okay.
at the beginning. So I've transitioned from that to being the head of operations, and now I have three full-time staff under me who I'm responsible for, and I'm basically the only person who is, let's say, above me in the hierarchy is the general director, and then obviously the owner and the board of members, which is, you know,
Yep. Are you
yeah.
are you guys currently playing in Europe? Are you in the Europa League?
Unfortunately, we lost in the second qualifying round of Conference League this season, which is not what we are used to, because the past years we have done some amazing campaigns for Europe. We've qualified for the group stage of Europa League quite a few times, and if it's not for the group leagues, usually we reach the playoff round, and depending on the opponent, we try to get in the group stage. So, for instance, the last year with COVID again was a weird season, so we did get disqualified quite early. I would say I think it was third round, but the year before we lost in the playoff round against the PSV Eindhoven, as you understand, quite a bit.
I actually do remember that.
Yeah, but before that, we've had some amazing games. We've been in the group stage 3 times, and to get into the group stage, we've eliminated teams like Nice from France, Lokomotiv Moscow, Midtjylland from Denmark. 4 times in the group stage. Midtjylland and FC Basel. And for the group stages, we've played against some amazing clubs: Everton, Lyon, Atalanta, Olympique Marseille, Eintracht Frankfurt, and we've had some amazing results as well. We beat Marseille in France. We drew against Marseille and Lyon in Cyprus. We beat Lazio in Cyprus. We drew against Everton away in Goodison Park. So the team was quite competitive, even in this kind of games, which, as you understand, the level is quite much higher than Cyprus football. Yeah,
and I'm glad to hear that about Everton too. I support Liverpool, so anytime I hear about them losing, it's good, right? Who would you say is your most talented player at the moment?
At the moment, it's quite difficult to pinpoint because we've over the summer the squad went through an overhaul. So for the past 5 years, we've had a core of players who were with us, and over the summer we changed drastically. They hired a new coaching team, coach from Germany, Alexander Zorniger, very very passionate guy, and his style of play is very very different to what we have used to. He's if I have to, let's say, compare his style of play, I would say he's similar to Marcelo Bielsa from Leeds United. So a lot of intensity, a lot of
in terms of management style.
Yes,
I love Bielsa's style. I think he's a fantastic manager. That's good.
It's quite it's still under, let's say, construction. Let's say, because obviously to get the squad playing like that, it will take some time. But we started off the season quite well. We've had 2 wins in 2 games so far. Some good football as well. But if I have to choose, let's say, a player that really shined, let's say, in the first 2 games, I would say is Basel Jati. Is a Danish international, but he comes from Lebanon.
Interesting. Was he playing for Denmark in the summer?
No, he was in Croatia last season, playing for Hajduk Split. Hajduk Split is top 2.
Just got him this summer.
We just got him this summer, and he's been over the first 4 or 5 official games, including Europe. He has been amazing. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
What is your record transfer fee?
Buying or selling, or both?
Both. Let's go with both. Yeah.
So we actually, last January, we had a record sell. We sold a player in Turkey. His name was Attila Salai from Hungary. Maybe you watched this guy play over the summer in the Euros, because he was one of the starters of the Hungarian national team. Amazing player, young guy.
Did he score against Portugal? Was he the guy that scored against Portugal?
No, that's a different Salai. They have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have 3 Salais in the starting lineup.
Okay. I remember that name though.
Yeah, but this guy he's a center back. So we sold him to Fenerbahce for 2.6 million, if I'm not mistaken. And we also have kept, I think, 11 or 12% of resale value. So if they do sell him in the future, which is there's a big possibility, because the guy is like 22 years old still. So there's a big chance he gets a bigger transfer. So there's
you get
some money to be made there.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In terms of spending, like the policy that the club follows is basically, usually we sign free agents. However, we did spend money. Like, for instance, for Salah, I think we paid close to 500,000 to buy him, and we sold him next season for 2.6. So
great business.
5 times as much. But I think the biggest, let's say, transfer fee we paid as a club, I think it will be close to 600K. So it's not a lot. Yeah.
What about Cypriots in general? Like, how is the Cypriot national team? Who's your best player? How does the foundation of Cypriot football work to bring them to the top of either professional or playing for their country?
So again, I will be honest with you. I think Cypriot football, in terms of club level, is much more competitive in terms of the national team. So I think when Cypriot football clubs play in Europe, they're much more, let's say, competitive and better than what the national team brings to the table.
Sure.
Obviously, the reason is that there's a lot of foreign players that play for the clubs, a lot of good players. Whereas in the national team, apart from a couple, let's say, players that got the passport, is mostly locals. That being said, we do have some very good players. Also in the past, we've had some great players. I think at the moment, the top 3 players that play for the national team, two of them are from Apollon, and one of them is a young guy from Omonia. It's a club from Nicosia. Big prospect. His name is Loizou. He's, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 19 years old, and he's a very big prospect. And also the other 2 players are Charalambos Kyriakou and Ioannis Pittas, who play for Apollon. Amazing players. Loizou is a winger. Kyriakou is number 8, number 6, like center mid. And Ioannis Pittas can play either as a striker or as a second striker, and even in the wing. He's an amazing player. Last season, he scored 16 goals in the league.
Nice.
So yeah, for usually the top scorers are some of the foreign guys, but this guy has been top for the past 2-3 years. He's been been scoring goals like crazy. Yeah. So he also scores a lot for the national team as well. So I think those 3 are what is like the best, let's say,
prospects
prospects of the national team. Yeah. So
Awesome.
in terms of how let's say the national team comes about, or like the development of football here, I think, again, I want to be honest, we are very outdated. The federation is very outdated, but over the past years, they've been trying to develop. So at the moment, they are I think they already started. They're building a new training center for the national teams.
Nice.
I think that's an amazing initiative, and hopefully it will be done soon. So they're going to create this big training center where all the different let's say teams of the national, like all different ages, are gonna train and rub shoulders, and hopefully that will develop football a lot.
Yeah,
apart from that, I think it's the development of Cypriot football players is up to the clubs individually. The academies of each club and how they feed the players into the first team, and then the national team. So I think in terms of like grassroots and academies, it's more, it has to do more with how much the clubs invest and how much they want to develop. And at some point the federation steps in and, we'll get some of these players to play for the national teams, and also try to help them develop as well.
Awesome.
But it's not very, very, let's say, professional at the moment, but it's getting there. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's shift then and pivot into kind of on that, what we're just talking about, development, right? I kind of want to bring it kind of for full circle, everything we've talked about, back to small-sided football. So as you know, here at Bazooka Goal, we run a lot of franchise 3v3 tournaments through Germany, UK, Netherlands, all different kinds of country, and we're expanding and evolving all the time to different countries. What do you think is the outlook for small-sided football in Cyprus? I guess it's a 3-part question. Where is small-sided football right now? Where do you think small-sided football within Cyprus is going? And what kind of success rate do you think it will have to catch on and become important within Cyprus?
I think at the moment it's not very popular. Although there's a version of it where you could actually, I don't know if you can call that small-sided football, but we have this like 5-a-side football pitches around the cities where people can book and play for. I think that's the closest thing we have to small-sided football, which is kind of popular. But apart from that, in terms of actually having and hosting tournaments and this kind of stuff, I think is practically non-existent. So there's a big gap in the market in Cyprus for this kind of stuff. I think now what is getting more and more developed in the past years is basketball in terms of this, 3-on-3s and that kind of stuff. But in terms of football, as I said, I think it's something that hasn't really been touched upon and hasn't really been utilized in a commercial aspect. Because
yeah, no, I was just sorry, I was just going to follow up there. So does Apollon utilize small-sided football at all in training?
Yes, that was what I was going to say. I was going to say that especially in Apollon, it's something that the new German coaching team has been really using is so basically in terms of football clubs, I think in training sessions now is getting very popular, and it's something that the coaches have been utilizing more and more. And I've experienced this over the summer with the team, because the German coaches do this. I think pretty much in every training session there will be some sort of small-sided football drills or games going on, and I think this is really good because, as I said before, the way the coach wants to play, which is high intensity, players and the ball keep moving. This is the kind of stuff that gets them, into this sort of mode and will help them develop in real life as well and in open play.
Exactly. So yeah, if you want to play quick, small spaces, triangles, stuff like that. So yeah, for small-sided, we are typically talking about 3v3, 2v2, or 1v1. And it's really important in helping that aspect of the game. What other benefits do you see of small-sided football in general?
I think, and always in my personal experience, I think awareness is a very big aspect. I think the way the players understand the game in a more closed area is much more difficult. So you need to be alert at all times. You don't really get this off moments where you can drift away and think about other stuff. You just have to get your head in the game. Exactly. You have to be there. You have to have your head in the game. You have to be aware of opponents. So I think awareness is a very big, let's say, add-on that comes from this kind of stuff, because they need to be alert at all times. And again, intensity, I would say intensity, awareness, and just, being quick in thinking, being quick in acting.
Positioning, right?
Exactly.
That's what I think. Yeah, you were saying earlier, and knowing where other people are and stuff.
Yeah, and also another thing that we've noticed is that this kind of let's say drills and games are much more physically demanding than what you expect. Yeah. So I think it also helps with their condition and their fitness, because they play this, the high intense games for, because when you play the full size pitch, as I said, you can have this off moments where you just play off your position. You're not really in the game. You're just waiting for the moment, whereas in smaller. Yeah. And one thing that I wanted to mention, because I just remembered, one of the games we had in the preseason, one of the friendly games, and we played another team that is, again, it's a smaller team in the first division, but it's still a first division team. So basically, this is something that the coach asked, and they did this during the friendly game. So they played one full match of 90 minutes. And then the game that they played an additional 45 minutes in a smaller sized pitch. So they moved the goals a bit, closer together. Yeah. And they played sorry, I lost you. And they played an additional 45 minutes in a tighter space.
Wow.
And this is something that was asked by our coach, and the other team went for it because they understood that this is something that could really, benefit. And for me, that was the first time. It was the first time that I seen this or even heard of somebody asking for this. So that was really impressive. And for the people who were watching it, it was quite fun, because it was because you get to watch the first game, which is, normal, a lot of it's what you usually expect from football. And then you see the next game, which is in a tighter space, and you understand that everything happens so much faster, and the players need to move and be agile and be alert at all times. So for me, that was very interesting. Yeah, and it further supports what we just said, that this sort of games help you with intensity, agility,
it
awareness,
helps you with your game plan, your specific type of football.
Exactly. Yeah.
More beneficial. That's great. So it's great that you understand the benefits, and it's great that there's a market gap to be filled. But my last question here, just to wrap this up, do you think small-sided football for children, tournaments, 3v3s, 2v2s, as well as a more used and more focused small-sided games in training. Do you think this has a good chance of taking off and having a place in Cyprus, or do you think, you know, it's going to be more the basketball, it's going to be more just 7v7s, 11v11s?
I think I need to divide my answer in two parts, because if you're talking about professional clubs, I think it will keep developing and it will keep catching on, because again, I think this is something that has amazing benefits for professionals.
Yes.
In terms of you know, games and children, I think it's much more difficult to, let's say, promote this, because usually what they go for in academy level is teaching them how to work together and teamwork. So they, you know, it requires a bigger, let's say, squad. However, I think that if this is something that is organized and promoted efficiently and in a proper way, I think it will develop and it will catch on. And hopefully in the future, you will see this tournaments as previously mentioned for the basketball, because 3x3 basketball was something that didn't exist 5 years ago, and now it's
in the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. And
I could not believe that this past Olympics, when I saw it, I was like, how is, we can go into that. That's a whole another discussion, but
exactly.
You're totally right. And us as Greeks, Cypriots, you know, this area of the world, we really like basketball too. So,
so I think if you implement the same, let's say, rationale and the same strategy in order to like develop and promote this kind of stuff, I think it will catch on. And why not? Because for instance, in Cyprus, I think 99% of the male population at least enjoy and play the game or watch the game. And as you understand, it's much more easier to get 2, 3, 4 people to go and play football than getting 7, 8, or 11. So, and as I said, because 5-a-side football is very popular in Cyprus, why shouldn't 3-on-3s?
Exactly. This was really, really great. Thank you so much for taking the time. Wonderful insight. I will be 110% sure to come visit you there in Cyprus. And of course, anytime you're in Greece, in Athens more specifically, would love to have you. So it was really nice speaking with you again. And again, I appreciate you taking out the time.
My pleasure, Andrew. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the interest, and hopefully I will see you soon. I think you should definitely stop here on your way to Tel Aviv.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I'm going to Tel Aviv because one time when I was in Tel Aviv, I was trying to get to Thailand. But as you know, you can't fly to any of the countries surrounding Israel except for like Cyprus, Turkey, and Uzbekistan randomly.
Yeah.
And I had a flight booked for Larnaca in Cyprus, but then it turned out that I switched it to go to Uzbekistan. So like you said, it's 45 minutes, an hour away. So there's no doubt I'll be there soon.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, then it will take maybe a flight from Larnaca to Tel Aviv is like 20 minutes. Like 30 minutes tops.
Not even, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's like catching a taxi. You know, it's like.
Cool, man. Well, have a great rest of your week, and I will. I'll let you know when the video is up, so you can have a look at it yourself.
Perfect, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
We'll speak soon. Okay.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, man.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye. You too. Bye.
Thank you.